Okay, so we talked about the professional life. We talked about faith with it, and you said you have a lot of strong friendships, but now I want to know the real thing that we've talked about with everybody. What is dating life like in LA?
You can do your own segment on dating life in LA. You don't need me for that.
For you, let's say, how's it been for you? That's how
honestly, for me, I have largely not dated since I've been in LA in my whole time. So it's been a few spurts of actual dates. Less dating, which is like, okay, 2 or 3 getting to know the same person, and then even less what would be considered a relationship. So a lot of that was me and my own expectations of what dating should be.
Okay.
My own confidence.
Okay.
And I didn't feel skilled or equipped to date. I thought when I got saved in that church, it was kind of like, your husband will find you. He will drop out of the sky and he will say, you are the one. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it, right? So I'm like waiting for this, what I call the husband stork, to show up at my door. And then I got to the point, I was like, oh, I'm not going to meet him sitting on the couch. Yeah. So I had to like literally learn. And then I was in a relationship with someone who on paper seemed like just a upstanding, great, good guy. And I don't want to say he was a bad guy, but he was not a good partner. And we had some really like negative circumstances in terms of he just really didn't want to commit. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. And so he treated me like a girlfriend, but didn't want to be the boyfriend, which meant in his mind he had the freedom to do what he wanted. So,
which is kind of common, I can say out here. but
it made me, the stuff that was good, and I was like, this is worth like finding a real thing for. And so it made me figure out, okay, how do I date? So I started literally going to workshops. And girl, a whole thing. I mean, I put in some practice. Yeah. And I've learned a lot, but the greatest thing that I've learned in this process of dating is loving myself first. And treating myself the way I want to be treated. Not just like buying myself nice things, but literally everything from like my health to my mindset to my space around me. And loving myself so good that it attracts others to me. So that's what I'm working on.
I find it so important to be open, be open in dating and type, and also like being willing to do stuff. Like she just said she went to a workshop. Like I've never heard that, but I also think it's amazing because, you can't just, the guy's not going to just show up like that, It looks great on the movies and it sounds good at church and stuff, but you have to put some kind of effort in, and it also sounds fun too. Yeah, it's nice to learn about yourself and learn about the other sex
and learn about my past. I got to the point too where I realized I was like, I didn't want to miss a good guy just because like he didn't look like or have the package that I thought he would come in, right? So it's also like getting my ego out of the way and being like learning what I should be doing is taking account to how I feel when I'm with him and how he treats me and what is he saying, as well as what is he doing. Yes. So
y'all hear that?
I'm
Yeah,
learning.
you teaching too. You teaching while you learning. That's so awesome. So tell us more about this comedian thing. Tell us about the comedy, how it came about. Yeah. Because she's funny, guys. She's
so the comedy, thank you, Pysa. It came during that dark point, that low point that you asked about. And it was low, Pysa. Like, I was scaring, like, people around me. They were like, we're worried about you. And literally, Pysa, I had a friend who's just like, this party girl. Like, she's super loosey-goosey. I met her years ago at work. And, she's one of my closest friends, but like you can't really count on her for much. Like I know she's my girl, but she's just so in her own head. You can't count on her for much. Like that, yeah. Girl, she was counseling. She was calling therapists on my behalf. She was
even she started.
That let you know how worried people got. And so I ended up in therapy, and my therapist was like, okay, let your work be work. Don't try to get anything out of it, creativity or anything from it, but find yourself a separate creative pursuit.
Yes. I love that.
And I was like, well, I've always wanted to try stand-up comedy and improv. And I tried improv first, but I didn't put much stock into it. I was like, but when I tried stand-up, the rest was history, as they say. And, you know, I was like traveling and showcasing at a major festival within months. I traveled to like Boston and Texas and the Bay.
It just started moving like that.
It was moving. It was moving.
And it's such a different side of your personality. You know, we all have these different sides of our personalities. And I was like, oh, Crista. And then we laugh and we have fun and stuff. But I was like, I really want to see this. And she's really, really funny. Like, I really enjoy you. And it was just amazing to me to see that side of you. You know.
Thanks.
So, what are you gonna do with it?
I knew it was there, but as a non-spotlight seeker, I was like not, put it out there. Yeah, I've decided, at least for now, I decided to lay down because it got to the point where I received such a positive response about it. People were like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I kind of felt like I was doing it for other people instead of myself.
I understand.
And it's too personal, stand-up comedy. It's, and it's so raw. It's just you and your material with instant feedback to have it be outward focused. It really has to be inward focused, and you have to be really inwardly confident in it. And I said, it's okay if I, put it down for my mental health and pick it up when it's for Crista. And compared to another thing is, I also told you I was in this relationship with this guy. He wanted to start doing comedy, so I helped him, and I feel like I let him into my personal space because comedy was really a safe space for me. And it's also very vulnerable. And I was like, now I stopped feeling as comfortable in the comedy scene in LA, knowing that he was out there in it. And that was to my detriment. Like, he didn't necessarily deserve my help. Yeah. And now he's in my world. And then he was like, oh, you helped me? You tried to act like I didn't do nothing. Like, oh my God. And then he goes, oh, I guess you did. And it's like, really, dude? So that's what we're doing. And, it was a lesson to me. One thing I've learned from Dr. Pat Allen, she's a genius, is feminine energy gives back and it gives less. So never, ladies, give more than what's been given to you. And I gave a lot more than what I was receiving.
I got that. I don't know. When I see this footage, I'll see what my face is looking like. I've gotten real mad 2 times. And the first one was when you were saying you were single. I'm like, oh, it makes me so mad because we have these like beautiful, wonderful women, and it's like, oh, it's so hard out here. And it's like, some guy is really missing out. But I know I know it has to do with timing, and we can look at the spiritual part of it. But I still get so mad when I have like these beautiful, great friends, and I'm like, I can't believe they're single. And then get mad about hearing that. I was like, he making me mad. You really gave a lot to him, and
And I think too, I lost a little bit of myself in that process. And because stand-up is you have to be true to yourself. I think I could take the time to rebuild myself, my career, all of that, and come back to that.
It's okay. I'm just mad. I'm like, let me bring my energy back. Make me mad. So you wear so many hats, and what is your favorite hat to wear? Right now, I know it seems like it may change with you depending on the season.
Honestly, right now, my favorite hat to wear is enough. And what I mean by that is I just have these days where I just say, whatever it is today is enough. Whatever I have, whatever I'm bringing, it's enough. If I don't do that or do that well, it's enough.
I love that. I love it so much. I love it. That's so powerful because in some of the previous episodes, I was talking about dance and how I was just never enough, and that's just always been a major line for myself. Just remember to say, I am enough. I'm enough. Yeah. And the other thing I really like is you saying let work be work, and then have another outlet. And for me right now, this is my outlet, and I was feeling so empty because I stopped the dancing and. I just was like, I need a passion project. and this has like changed everything. And you know, I know how to appreciate my job and get the money that I get, and then if other things come, then they do, but I'm not like trying to rush out. Sometimes people out here in LA, they get excited and say, oh, I'm ready to quit and just jump and do something else, but just having something to do that you just love. And this guy asked me one time, he said, a little bit before I started this, he was like, what's something that you would do for free? And at the time I couldn't answer. Well, this is for free, but I'm having so much fun, and you know, it's also sharing and teaching people, so that kind of helped me and confirmed some stuff for me, so thank you.
Good.
I'm a better person after this interview. So with the things that you've gone through and the things that you've learned, do you have a specific like group of people that you really feel led to and want to inspire?
I don't know if there's a group of people, but I think one kind of message that resonates with me is really almost really in line with your purpose of doing your interview series, and in terms of being real and letting people see the real stuff. And I think that when we are truly honest, I said the other day to myself, I was like, you know, people need to see your light, right? They need to see your light because it shows the way. But people also need to see your darkness because it lets them know it's okay. Yes. And I like to be honest. I like to show my darkness because if a person isn't in touch with like who they are, then it's like a facade that they're putting on. It is. And I don't want to put on a facade. I don't have enough energy for that. But when I feel like when people see the real and they see the truth, and they're like, oh, that person, because we always look at other people from a distance, right? And we admire them and we see who they are. We're like, oh, they look great. And then we're like, oh, wait, I've gone through that. I felt that way. Oh, there's nothing wrong with me. And I like to let people know, like, there's nothing wrong with you. We all have, like, these dark days, these hard times, like, these misaligned thoughts. And it's a process of bringing our light and realigning ourselves. And I'm like, if I can, because I got a lot of throughout my life, oh, you think you're better than us, or you think you're this, you think you're that, and I'm like, no, I don't, and maybe I go out of my way to show that the side of myself that's not all shiny and pretty. But that's what I liked about Boys in the Hood. These people saw like this dark side, but they saw themselves, and I like to show my dark side because I feel like that's really where people see themselves. It is.
Oh, thank you. That was so good. That is like in line with what I want to show here. We really need to see the difficulty in people's journeys, because I know, like, even with people that danced, if it looks like they just came and started booking and suddenly are doing all this stuff, like, that doesn't resonate with me because it's not the norm. And I thought maybe I wasn't the norm, but it's like actually they just aren't showing this other side, you know. And there's reasons for those things too, but we all need to hear the ups and the downs. And if I can help somebody, like, even if I knew a little bit earlier, you know, some of that stuff, it would be cool. So what do you want your future to look like?
Ooh, Pysa, you're like asking all the good questions. I feel like, oh man, I should write these down. What do I want my future to look like? I don't want this to sound trite, but I want my future to be happy. Yes. And I feel like sometimes happiness gets a bad rap, you know.
It does.
But what's wrong with wanting to be happy? And as Dr. Allen would say, at least most of the time, right? You won't always be happy. But whatever that means, and if that means making different decisions, I've had a history of putting up with like bad behavior or bad things and bad experiences. And I'm like, why am I so comfortable with bad things? And that's a habit I'm breaking. And sometimes there will be tough times that you have to get through, but at the same time, I want to get in the habit of saying, hey, if this is not serving me, or if what I'm offering isn't enough for this, then I can move on. I have the power to choose something different. Now, then once I get married, have kids, I can't get rid of them. Right. But, you know, to create a situation where at least we can communicate about how to get there, how to get to wholeness and happiness. And so I don't know what that looks like yet. You know, I'm kind of falling in love with Santa Barbara, so maybe that's a condo in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
I would love to live abroad, at least for a short period of time.
Yeah.
In the future, I definitely want to be a mom, and I'm kind of trying to prepare myself to start that journey.
Yes.
And with my career change, I hope it'll give me the space to do that.
Yes.
So soon.
I was wondering if you were going to say, like, you want a family and kids.
I definitely do. I want a
You'll be a
family.
wonderful mom.
Oh, thank you, Pysa. Thank
really
you. I want a family, and I want those kids to have a daddy. So definitely a partner. I mean, I don't feel like I need a man,
I understand, but
I definitely feel like I want one.
Yeah.
And I want to build an actual family, the institution of a family. So definitely I want to be like one of those 80-year-old ladies that still walk in the mall and wear cute clothes.
Yes, I can see it.
and I want it to look like health, and I just want it to look like inner peace. So I've kind of put
I'm visualizing that. It's like beautiful, yeah.
Of you know things. I put kind of the pursuit of things in a way on the back burner, and just kind of the quality of life.
Quality. I was gonna say that. Yep.
But yeah, but maybe we can do a part 2 in like 6 months.
Yeah, we definitely need to follow up.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on this show.
Thanks for
I've
having
learned
me.
so much, and you've really inspired me. And I know whoever watches this, you're very blessed and lucky.
Thank you.
And you know, I was going to ask if you had any final words for the viewers.
My final words are really in gratitude of you, and it's easy to look at. I saw your journey. I remember when you first said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." I don't remember how long ago that was.
Maybe like March or April.
But and you're like, and I'm working on stuff. But I remember you standing in front of that background in one of your first videos. And when I walked in, and I was just like, Pysa's doing it. You know what I mean? And I'm encouraged by your commitment to you taking charge of what you want and what's important to you. And if there's anything that are closing words, do that. Do what's important to you. Creativity, you know, you said you were empty and you had to find something. I was reading this book called Creative Calling. I'm reading it now. And he says creativity is like just as important as air. Like we need it to express ourselves. So go out and express and get what you want in life. You're worth it and you're enough.
I'm enough and you're enough. I love that.
Enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm really blessed.
All right, you guys have a good night. And on 3, we're going to say, you're enough.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You're enough.
Have a good night, guys.